Only love is real, and what is real cannot be threatened by what does not truly exist. Hello friends! In this video I'm going to be talking about Lesson 2 in the Way of Transformation. This is Book 2 of the trilogy, The Way of Mastery. And these books are Jesus, or Jeshua ben Joseph, channeled through JON MARC, or Jayem. The Way of Mastery is Jesus providing a pathway to enlightenment, or to realizing Christ consciousness, or to remembering what we truly are, which is one with the Father in His words, or one with the Creator, or God, or whatever you wish to call it. Lesson 2's main theme is love, a big one. Big theme. But like all the lessons that are shared in these books, they cover many different ideas, and it repeats ideas that were presented in previous lessons to reinforce them and to remind us of them. First thing he goes over is to remind us of that 5-minute meditation exercise that he introduced to us in The Way of the Heart, the first book. And that is just to sit with eyes closed, be silent, be still, and feel yourself being this awakened master already. Recognize that you can never be separated from your Creator, that you are one with all of creation, and that you are Christ, that you are pure spirit already. And within this 5-minute exercise, remind ourselves of that truth that was presented in that first quote, that only love is real, and everything else is basically just fear, and is not real, doesn't exist, and what is real cannot be threatened. Now this is the same idea presented in Course in Miracles, because A Course in Miracles is also a channeling of Jesus. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. That's how it's worded in A Course in Miracles, but the same exact idea. So to remind ourselves of this truth while we do that 5-minute exercise. The next thing that comes up in the lesson is this idea that comes up again and again in the Way of Transformation, is to use time differently. He says this over and over, use time differently. What does he mean by this? He means use time to acknowledge and to remember that you're the source of all your experience. So to take responsibility of everything that happens in your reality, in this dream on earth, is coming from you. There's nothing outside of you. It is all within your own perceptions. And he reminds us again and again of the same idea that Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka, shares, which is circumstances don't matter. The only thing that matters is your state of being. That's in Bashar's words. But in Jesus' words in these books, it says all that matters is your perceptions of the circumstances. So outer things do not have any power over you, and they have never caused you a delay in your awakening or the delay in realizing your union with Creator. So stop placing blame on outer things, because the circumstances don't matter. Beloved friends, the Way of Transformation, again, requires only that you extend to yourself the willingness necessary to put into practice using time differently. It does require that you begin with the simple recognition that there can be no set of perceived circumstances that truly have the power to separate you from your God. No set of circumstances, no set of relationships, not the weather, not the amount of money that you are allowing yourself to receive for the expenditure of your time. There is nothing in the world that has the power to separate you from your God. Therefore, the Way of Transformation does not require you to change your circumstances. It merely requires that you change your attitude toward them by recognizing that they are harmless, by recognizing that you have called all things to yourself. So again, it's taking responsibility. I have created this circumstance that I'm in right now. Everything is just bouncing back to me. The ripples I send out come back to the center, come back to their source, which is me, which is my thoughts, my beliefs. So this is empowering. So then we can ask ourselves, what do I want to create? What do I want to think? And be responsible in your creation. How will I decide to use my time? Finding myself here in this moment, can I remember that I am free to see things differently? I am free to look lovingly upon the world. I do not need to wait for something outside of myself to create a stimulus that elicits a loving response. And now he begins to move into the main idea, which is love. And he says the whole purpose for creation is to extend love, is to express love. We are meant to be channels of this cosmic love, Creator's love, God's love. And therefore the way is easy. From the viewpoint of ego, we think things are hard. We have to work hard. We have to achieve. But really it's just getting out of our own way to let that love flow through us. Now, the Way of Transformation is simple. For the way of efforting one's way into the kingdom cannot flow from the guidance of the Holy Spirit. For where there is effort, there is a separate will, called the ego, that believes itself to be, and would love to convince you of this, believes itself to be small, powerless, and knows that it is pervaded by fear. Love requires no effort, only the little willingness necessary to allow it to flow from the depth of your being, through you, that it might be extended throughout creation. So it is a surrender to love. Now this idea comes up ubiquitously in spiritual texts and from spiritual masters. It is a surrender to love. And that is our main purpose. And that is everything's main purpose. It is all an expression of the love of Creator. We are created to express that love and to co-create with this one true self. God, Goddess, Brahman, Buddha nature, the Tao, Great Spirit, the one in all things, the love light, whatever you wish to call it. For you see, the world in which you live has but one purpose. It is the same purpose that all dimensions of creation have, to be the extension of the Father's love. For that is what creation is. And then to extend that love from that world, from that dimension, each and every one of you has but one treasure, only one treasure. It is not your child, it is not your spouse, it is not the new car in the garage. Your treasure is your reality as the unlimited, holy, and only begotten child of God. You are a field of consciousness through which the Father would extend Himself. To extend, to witness, to create that love, which is the love that is within all things. And then we move on to this idea that I adore, and that is also found in many different spiritual texts and from different spiritual masters, which is in your reality, in your experience, start to acknowledge that one true self, or that love light within everything. See it within everything, acknowledge it, witness it within all things, everything, nothing is excluded. And this is saying the same thing as the Gospel of Thomas quote from Jesus saying that, split a piece of wood, I am there. Lift up the stone and you will find me there. This true I am is within everything. It's found everywhere. Nothing is left out. So to enter the so-called kingdom, or to remember that everything is this one true essence, we must start acknowledging it and seeing it within everything. See the love within everything. The point is, there is nothing that you see that is not pervaded by the perfect radiance of God's holy presence. Nothing. The stone, a leaf, a piece of paper blown by the wind, even the shoutings of fear and anger from anyone yet contains within it, if you would receive it, the perfect love of God. For your Father does not ever recoil or withdraw from the unlimited and perfect extension of Himself, and God is but love. This is so good. And then He reminds us that we have the power to break through the veil, the illusion of separation, of everything seemingly different and everything's just out to survive. Everything is alone. We have the power to see through that and acknowledge the one love within everything. And thereby we enter into the so-called kingdom, or to the remembrance of our true home, which is paradise on earth, seeing the love within everything, feeling the love, and being one with that love. You are the one with the power to penetrate the illusory veil of the world and see the heart, or the essence, or the truth, or the Christ child in everything. A blade of grass, the cry of a child, the barking of a dog, the coming of the mail with the bills. This is one of my favorite ideas that come up in spirituality and realize it in enlightenment. It's this idea of seeing everything as one. And check out my other video where I go into more depth of this idea and share many more quotes from a variety of spiritual masters and texts. And then in the lesson he moves on and shares an exercise that he said he received when he was a child from his Essene teachers. An exercise that is also shared in A Course in Miracles, in the first 4 lessons in the workbook for students. I'm going to simplify the exercise, but the idea is you look to something around you, anything. It could be a lamp, it could be a tree, it could be a puppy, and you sit with it and you observe it and you start to think what it is, and you come to realization that you truly don't know what that thing is. Immediately the thoughts of the world will come up, or from the ego, identifying it, naming it, defining it, so that you kind of think you know what it is. But the idea is to realize that you truly don't know what that thing is. All those labels that you put on it are just labels. It's just language, it's just naming of things, but you truly don't know the source of that, how it was created. how it came about, how it came to exist. The idea is to enter into a state of awe, a state of humility, and realize I have no idea what anything truly is. At times my ego mistakenly thinks it knows things just because it knows the name or a definition that I was taught from others, but you truly don't know what that thing is. So it is meant to evoke a state of awe and to see that really everything comes from mystery and that you too are this mystery. The first 4 lessons in the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles give a nice summary of this exercise. Nothing I see in this room means anything. I have given everything I see in this room all the meaning that it has for me. I do not understand anything I see in this room. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. And then he shares when he did this exercise for hours and hours when he was a child, when he was a young student. He realized that what brought him the most joy was getting to that space of awe, of complete surrender to the fact that he really did not know anything of the world around him, and that everything's true source was a mystery. And I discovered that what always brought joy was when I was willing to surrender into the awe of mystery, to penetrate the thoughts and perceptions and attitudes and definitions that the world had taught me. To look at a plate and not just see a plate, but to see mystery unfolding before me. To sit and look at a star, to sit and look at a sacred text, to sit and look at one diseased who sits at the side of the road covered with dust, and to see no difference. To see them pervaded by the same mystery, the presence of my Father's love. I began to sense that that love pervaded me, that the very body-mind that I thought had been me, Jeshua ben Joseph, was arising out of mystery, out of mystery, out of mystery, that I did not create myself. And I finally came to realize that even I, Jeshua ben Joseph, was a mystery with which I was in relationship. I came to see myself as the mysterious extension of something beyond my comprehension. I saw myself as a sunbeam to the sun. I saw myself as the very mystery of God's presence being unfolded in the realm of manifestation. I saw that all that I thought, even down to the body, was temporary, that it was an ongoing foreverness, that whatever it was that was birthing me was eternal, and that if I could just rest in that, if I could abide with that, if I could return to that, even prior to every breath, that I could tap into the very power of creation itself and get out of the way, and get out of the way, and get out of the way, and keep diving deeper into mystery upon mystery upon mystery. Behold everything's true source as a mystery, and thereby you realize your own source is a mystery. And then he goes on to say, if we really want to transform, if we really want to remember and become enlightened, we must want it above all things. The way of transformation, the willingness to use time differently. There must come a point in the journey of each individual in which the head bows and the thought emerges. I want only God, and I no longer care what it takes, what is required. I submit to the mysterious force that is life, asking only that I be transformed into the perfect field of awareness through which that love flows without obstruction. And then he returns to the idea of surrender. We must want it above all things, and then we must surrender to it. Because the only thing that truly blocks us, because we are already one with that Creator, we are already perfect in the eyes of the Creator. So what must we do? We must surrender. And the only thing that blocks us is fear. So we must surrender all those fears that we have held, let go of all of them, and surrender into the love. Of myself I do nothing. Something is living me, and it is to that which I surrender. Of myself I do nothing. I merely witness the flow of love through me, and I have used time wisely to cultivate perfect remembrance of the real world. Time and space do not imprison me. This body is not me. I use it as a tool to fashion and shape that which in this world can extend love into any moment. I and my Father are one. There is nothing I have to do to get God. There are only some things to be released so that God can get me. All these lessons, all these books are available free online at womlibrary.com. And this is part of a series. Check out the next lesson, Lesson 3. Thank you.